Well,
would you look at that?
yeah, there's a few more blemishes on the car.
Oh my gosh, just look at it.
The car is not perfect.
Just look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah, well.
What the heck is that?
Massive breaking news in the ongoing legal battle between Washington State University, Oregon State University, and the 10 departing Pac-12 schools that are leaving the conference in 2024. As in Whitman County today, the Judge Libey ruled that WSU and OSU control the Pac-12. They have full control of the voting rights.
I grew up where conduct spoke louder than words. I mean, that's how my parents treated me, and that's how I treated my children when they were growing up. What you do and how you do it is what counts in life, not what you say you're going to do, and not what you say you're not going to do. So with that in mind, this court finds in favor that the plaintiffs are likely to prevail on their interpretation of the bylaws. The parties' prior course of conduct uniformly supports the plaintiffs, and the plaintiffs will suffer irreparable harm without the preliminary injunction. WSU and Oregon State will be the only two governing members of the board, but the ultimate voting will be by the remaining two board members.
If you're already subscribed to the channel, then you likely have seen one of my prior videos talking about this ongoing legal battle. If you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and do so. Hit the like button to stay up to date on all things Pac-12 legal battle moving forward. As even though this ruling came out tonight in favor of Washington State and Oregon State, likely the University of Washington and the departing 10 members are going to be continuing to fight this over the coming months. Because after all, hundreds of millions of dollars of future revenues are on the line with this court battle case.
It's my money and I need it now.
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 Before we get into this, you might be saying, hey Connor, Washington State is now 4-6 and they've lost their last 6 games in a row. Well, I would tell you, I don't care, because they're winning in court and that's all that matters. And WSU and OSU are now lawsuit champions. And plus, Oregon State is ranked 11th in the country right now and has a legitimate road at winning the Pac-12 this year. So here's what happened tonight. This is an article by 24/7 Sports. By now, you've probably seen headlines across The Athletic, ESPN, and other sources, but it states that WSU and OSU control the Pac-12. Judge Libey rules. A stay is in place until Monday as the University of Washington asks to appeal with Division III Appellate Court in Spokane. This article states that under Pac-12 bylaws, Washington State and Oregon State own sole voting rights and therefore control of the conference's future in a ruling handed down today in Whitman County Superior Court by Judge Gary Libey. After hearing arguments for nearly 3 hours, he granted WSU and OSU's request for a preliminary injunction to bar the defecting members of the Pac-12 from changing the conference's bylaws so they can retain voting rights despite their moves to other conferences and meet to dissolve the conference. Judge Libey stated, "I grew up where conduct speaks louder than words. Conduct is what counts, what you do and how you do it." With that in mind, this court finds in support of the plaintiffs, WSU and OSU. Judge Libey stated this to a full courtroom as well as over 500 people calling in over Zoom, again ruling that WSU and OSU would be the only governing votes. He went on to say that the Pac-12 bylaws will be adhered to. He also stated that revenue distributions will be determined by the 2-member board, but that 3 days notice of board meetings must be given to the defecting 10 schools seeking their input on matters. Libey also granted UW's motion for the temporary restraining order to remain in place as UW files an appeal this week with the Division III Court of Appeals in Spokane. The stay issued by Libey lasts until Monday at noon. At the heart of the battle sit future revenue streams loosely estimated at between $50 million and $150 million. By dissolving the conference, the 12 would split the money. By maintaining the league like Washington State and Oregon State are currently trying to do, out-year revenue will flow to WSU and OSU, and they will have 2 years under NCAA rules to rebuild the conference to the minimum of 8 required for conference recognition. WSU and OSU control the conference, and that can't change unless a higher court reverses Libey's decision, and the path there could take months. Washington State's president Kirk Schultz and the director of athletics Pat Chun issued a statement after this news came out. They stated, "We are pleased with the court's common sense decision today. It has always been our view that the future of the Pac-12 should be determined by the remaining members, not by those that are leaving the conference. This position is consistent with the action the Pac-12 Board of Directors took when the first 2 schools announced their departure from the conference more than a year ago. We have always been committed to protecting the best interests of the conference, our student athletes, coaches, and fans. Today's news allows Washington State University and Oregon State University to start that process as the controlling members of the Pac-12 Conference Board. So currently, Washington State and Oregon State are the sole voting members of the Pac-12 or the Pac-2 moving forward, and if they were to move forward with keeping the conference as the Pac-2, they could essentially be an independent conference for 2 years before they would need to meet the requirement of having 8 schools in the conference in order to remain a Power 5 conference. I have heard rumors that Washington State and Oregon State are currently in talks with various Mountain West schools to potentially bring the Mountain West schools into the conference, build it out to the Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12, and then whenever there's a realignment down the road, some of these departing schools that are departing right now might come crawling back to try to rebuild the Pac-12. We'll see what happens. And if you're curious what the Pac-12 bylaws state as far as terms of withdrawal and dissolution, then go check out this video I made prior in which I pull up the Pac-12 bylaws myself and go through it word for word.